trumployer@gmail.com.
We must wage what I have called total war against public enemy number one.
I support a change in law to end federal criminal penalties for possession of up to 1 ounce of marijuana.
That marijuana, pot, grass, whatever you want to call it, is probably the most dangerous drug.
Some think there won't be room for them in jail. We'll make room.
I experimented with marijuana a time or two, and I didn't like it and didn't inhale.
And one major responsibility is to encourage people to use less drugs.
Entirely legitimate topic for debate.
Radical Rant.
Welcome back, everyone. 47 after the hour, and today in the rant, I want to talk about how if it wasn't marijuana, they could see just how bigoted they are. And there's a number of stories that lead me to this conclusion. One of them coming out here from the state of Oregon, where there were brand new rules promulgated by the board that regulates childcare in the state of Oregon. We have like licensed childcare, licensed daycare, and they issued some new rules because there's some concern that people with mental illnesses might be working in childcare facilities. You know, people with depression or anxiety or bipolar disorder might be around our children. And we really need to be worried that those kind of people, you know, people with mental disorders, might be around our precious and vulnerable children. So these new rules were promulgated that says no child care provider can have an antidepressant or psychological medication prescription. If you have a psych medication prescription from now on, you can't work in a child care. You can't own a child care. And the people working in the child care facilities can't use their Prozac, their Xanax, any of those, Wellbutrins, any of those antidepressants, can't use them during the child care hours or when the children are present. And nobody who's under the influence of any of these selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, any of these antidepressant drugs, nobody on antidepressants is going to be allowed to have contact with children at the child care. And nobody can have any of those prescriptions at the child care. Even if they're locked up, even if they're stored away where the kids could never get at them, you can't have those medications there. But it is okay for the children to be on those medications. If they have an antidepressant prescription, they're okay to be on them. Oh, wait, I'm sorry, folks. I made a huge mistake. It's not people with mental illnesses and antidepressant medication. My bad. It's medical marijuana patients. Yeah. That's the new rules that were promulgated today, that people with medical marijuana cards in the state of Oregon cannot be child care providers, cannot work at a child care, and nobody under the influence of marijuana can be around the children at a child care. Amazing how much more bigoted and discriminatory and prejudicial it sounds when I was using mental illness and SSRIs, huh? These state boards are just reacting to this hysteria about, there was a story that came out like 6 months ago that yes, there were some medical marijuana card holders who were running a daycare. They weren't smoking around the kids. They weren't high around the kids. They weren't leaving their weed out around the kids. But oh my God, somebody who's a medical marijuana user might be around our kids. And this was a big old controversy and firestorm. And now here you have it. The discrimination, the bigotry has been writ into law. You are a second-class citizen unworthy of being around our children because you use marijuana. This is outdated reefer madness fears replacing science and common sense. Adult marijuana consumers are just as capable and responsible in the workplace, even with children, as consumers of alcohol and tobacco. These rules are as un-American and offensive as the "No Irish Need Apply" signs during the turn of the previous century. Here's another example. This was an interesting one coming out of Colorado. A trooper with the Colorado State Patrol was asked about alcohol and DUI. You know, we don't want to have drunk drivers on our roads. Never want to have any sort of impaired drivers. And so Trooper Josh Lewis of the Colorado State Patrol said, typically to have that full impairment out, 8 hours would be a good recommendation. That would be a minimum. Can you believe that? Does this state cop really think that people that are going to the Colorado Rockies baseball game and having a couple of cold Coors beers in the stands will have to sit in the parking lot of the stadium for 8 hours before they can drive their cars away? Does he really expect people to buy that? That if they go out and visit a friend and have some wine with dinner, they're going to have to stay the night at their friend's house because they got to wait 8 hours before they're unimpaired? Oh, wait, I'm sorry. My bad. I mistook the word alcohol for marijuana. Yeah, he was talking about marijuana. That someone who smokes marijuana should have to wait 8 hours before they go and drive. Yeah, my bad. Because here I'm looking at this blood alcohol chart here. Now, I'm a 240-pound man. According to this chart, I could drink 3 shots in an hour. 3 shots in an hour. I could have a shot every 20 minutes of hard liquor and get behind the wheel immediately. According to this chart, it says I'd only have a 0.07 blood alcohol level. The legal limit's 0.08. And as long as I believe that I'm not impaired and I don't demonstrate any impairment on the road, I could be perfectly okay to drive away after having 3 shots of hard liquor. I could drive that minute. Oh, but not marijuana. Gosh, if I even smoke a puff on a joint, I better crash for 8 hours. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration has already told us that it's, quote, inadvisable to try to predict effects based on blood THC concentrations alone. Marijuana ain't alcohol. And if alcohol consumers can be given a guide as to how much they can use and how long they have to wait, I don't understand why marijuana consumers aren't afforded the same privileges. We trust adult alcohol consumers to judge their level of impairment, and we provide them education and guidance on understanding when they will be impaired. But when it comes to marijuana, we're expected to adhere to a standard that effectively locks us in our homes if we want to consume marijuana. And it's completely anti-science. We've got the science showing that people like me who smoke marijuana all the time develop tolerance to the impairing effects and have no problem operating a motor vehicle safely. In what other ways does their bigotry show off? If you take the marijuana out of this, well, here's a test, real simple test. Turn on your TV or walk through your downtown area and hold your breath until you see a drug. Now, unless you're watching the Disney Channel or living in rural Utah, there is a good chance you won't pass out anytime soon. I mean, really, to hear the phrase drug-free America while being barraged by alcohol, tobacco, and pharmaceutical ads, and the venues that sell them openly, where people are using them openly, man, my chance of explosive cognitive dissonance has just increased by a factor of 6 Nancy Graces. But look, marijuana. When it comes to marijuana, Washington State, hell, they've got a law that the sign on your legal pot shop can only be 1/1600 square inch plain lettered, no pot leaves, no color sign. That's it. That's all you can have. Can't paint the walls of the outside. Can't have a bigger sign. Can't have 2 separate signs. One sign, 1,600 square inches. No advertising in the papers. No advertising on the billboards. No advertising on the television. Why are we forced to curtail our First Amendment rights so drastically when I can't turn a channel without seeing a Viagra ad, a Coors Light ad? It's again, second-class citizenship. Marijuana is treated like homosexuality in the 1950s. It's the drug that dare not speak its name. Can't have vapor lounges, can't have public consumption, can't even let people smoke in a park behind a veiled curtain, lest someone realize that marijuana's legal. But hell, pawn shops, strip clubs, taverns, pharmacies, liquor stores, they can be right across the street from the school. No big deal there. And here's another one. What's the limit on purchasing alcohol in this country? Like, if you go to the store and you wanted to buy 8,000 12-packs of beer, could you do it? I mean, assuming they had the inventory, right? Yes, you can. In fact, some states encourage it. Here in the state of Oregon, if there's a type of liquor that you want that you can't buy at the state store because they don't have it in stock, They will custom order it for you, but you have to order it by the case. So they actually encourage you to order greater amounts. If there's a state out there that has a limit on how much alcohol a person can purchase and possess, I haven't found it. There are lots of states now that have dry counties where they don't let alcohol sales, but even there you can still possess it. And even in those dry counties, some of them have wet cities within the county where alcohol is sold. And as of 2013, when Alabama and Mississippi passed new laws, now in all 50 states, it is legal for two people to homebrew up to 200 gallons of beer in their homes. That's the equivalent of 355 six-packs of 12-ounce beer. 355 six-packs a year. Well, actually, no, it's not per year. It's how much you can have on hand. But with marijuana, in the 4 states that have made it legal, you can purchase and possess 1 ounce in public. In Washington, you can't home cultivate. Colorado and Alaska will allow you 3 mature plants, and Oregon will allow you 4 mature plants. Hardly the equivalent of a 200-gallon home brew operation. But again, marijuana users treated as second-class citizens. And finally, just think of your civil rights, just like what we were talking there with Sarah Frank. I mean, go ahead, have another glass of wine, pop your Viagra pill. It's the weekend, baby. The kids are asleep and you deserve some me time. Enjoy yourself. Take a break. Relax from all your stress, because you know, come Monday, you can go to work without any fear of a random drug test. You can pick up your kids from school without the fear that the school resource officer and a child protective services worker will be waiting for you because your kid mentioned you enjoy wine on the weekends. You can go in for your medical appointment knowing that you'll still be on the organ transplant list for that kidney you need. But if you smoked a joint in Denver or Seattle last week on vacation, you could lose your job, you could lose your child, you could lose your shot at that new kidney. Treat marijuana like alcohol is a hell of a slogan. We got a long way to go before it's actually true. All right, folks, that's all the time we got for Hour 1, but stay tuned for Toker Talk Radio Hour 2. We take your live calls at 971-533-7111. In Hour 2 today, we're going to talk about the Kettle Falls 5, those medical marijuana patients, the family up in Washington State that the government just can't wait to put behind bars. That is, if the patriarch lives through his pancreatic cancer long enough to go behind bars. And we'll talk about the upcoming Super Bowl X-Licks. Plus, Herb Thrasher will be calling in with our Rockin' Friday Daily Toker Tunes. It's all coming up in Hour 2, Toker Talk Radio, available on demand for VIP members of 420radio.org. Sign up for as little as $4.20 a month. For everyone here at 420radio.org, I'm Radical Russ. Until next time, take care of each other, Tokers!
This is the Russ Belville Show. The Russ Belville Show is blogging and podcasting daily at radicalruss.com.
You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it,